Here are important guidelines to keep in mind as you embrace the challenges of online classes. 1. Set up a good working space. It is important that the place is quiet, clear, and free from distractions. 2. Make yourself look good online. Wear clothes the way you do when you go to school for in-person classes. 3. Have a respectful tone. When communicating with your teachers and classmates, observe a certain level of formality. Use respectful greetings and signatures like Good morning, Mr. Dow, Hi, Ms. Taylor, please, and thank you. 4. Be kind and be professional. Make it a point to be respectful in your comments even if you disagree with others. Conduct yourself in an online class with the same respect, politeness, and professionalism that you would exhibit in a real-life classroom. 5. Properly use your webcam and microphone. It's good to show your face to give the impression that you're actively engaged with the lesson. Turn your microphone off when your teacher or others are speaking. This will eliminate background noise that can be distracting. 6. Properly use the chat box. Don't post irrelevant remarks. Instead, use the chat box to clarify misconceptions or share great ideas you have about the topic at hand. Don't yell by typing in all caps. In most situations, typing in all caps is perceived as inappropriate. 7. Always make an effort to use proper punctuation, spelling, and grammar. Observing these ensures clear expression of your thoughts or ideas. 8. Make sure to submit your assignments the proper way. Knowing how to properly submit your work online is key to your success as an online student. 9. Take time to read. When asked to comment on a post, take some time to read through each of the previous discussion post responses before writing your own response. And 10. Think before you type. What you share in an online classroom becomes part of a digital record. I hope that you observe these guidelines to help you in your online learning. May you have a wonderful school year.
Oops. Oh, a happy and blessed day, class. How's your day going? I hope you'll find everything today well. I'm Sir Aaron John Cortez, your English teacher. Today, I'll take you to the world of fun and excitement as we go along to our learning journey. So, fasten your seatbelts. In this learning session, all you need to do is to sit and watch as we gradually unfold all the learning tasks which you will surely enjoy while learning at the same time. In this session, you will be able to accomplish the following. First, identify figures of speech. And second, explain figurative language used. Let's go, class! It's time to start our learning adventure. Get hold on your Week 6 modules, paper, and pen to do our first task. For our pre-assessment test, read the following paragraphs and answer the questions that follow. Write the letter of the correct answers on your answer sheet. So here is our first paragraph. During those years, seeing an American in our town was like seeing a man from another planet. You had to rub your eyes hard to see if you were dreaming or not. And if you weren't, it was still hard to believe. First question. When could the narrator see an American in his town? A. Very often. B. Very seldom. C. Every month. D. Now and then. Number 2. Which of the following sentences is hyperbole? A. I saw an American on the street. B. There was an American in our town. C. One seldom saw an American in those years. And D. Seeing an American was like seeing a man from another planet. Next paragraph. I could not speak. There was a stone in my throat and my heart was so overflowing with gladness that the words would not come out. But later that night, I told Father about Mike's promise, and he only smiled, a kind of amused smile, as if someone had told a nice joke. Let's proceed with the third question. Tell what figure of speech is. My heart was so overflowing with gladness that the words would not come out. A. Hyperbole. B. Metaphor. C. Personification. And D. Simile. Number 4. What does this sentence mean? There was a stone in my throat. A. He was hit by a stone. B. He had a parched throat. C. He had swollen a stone. Or D. There seemed to be a lump in the speaker's throat. Number 5. Which of the following sentences is an example of exaggeration? A. I did not speak. B. He only smiled. C. I told Father about Mike's promise. D. My heart was overflowing with gladness. You will be given 1 minute to answer this pre-assessment test. Timer starts now. Hold your pens up. It's time to check your answers. The following are the answers for your pre-assessment test. Number 1, letter B. Number 2, letter D. Number 3, letter C. Number 4, letter D. And number 5, letter D. Good job, class. You did it well. Now, let us have a snappy look of our previous lesson about parallelism with this activity. Correct the faulty parallelism in the following sentences to make them clear, concise, and easy to read. And here is your activity for what's in. I want you to read them silently and answer them correctly. You will be given 1 minute to answer this on your paper. And the timer starts now. Hold your pens up. It's time to check your answers. Great job, class! Now, I'm very much sure that you are ready to do our first task for today's lesson. For our initial task, we will be unfolding the What's New activity. It says here, read the poem or short poem entitled Tornadoes and answer the questions that follow. Tornadoes. Twisting, breaking, chasing. They are powerful as a wrecking ball, destroying anything they touch. Dark, dangerous, destructive. They are nature's bulldozer, angrily knocking down everything in their path. Let us now answer the following questions. Number 1. What adjectives were used to describe tornadoes? Number 2. Why are tornadoes nature's bulldozers? Number 3. What human attribute is given to tornadoes? Number 4. What is the author's tone for loss and destruction? Number 5. Identify the figurative languages used in the poem. You will be given another minute to answer these questions, and the timer starts now. You are doing great! The answers for this activity will be evaluated at the end of this video.
COVID-19 is a disease caused by the new coronavirus. Know the symptoms. They include fever, coughing, muscle pain, shortness of breath. What can you do? Wash your hands frequently with soap and water for 20 seconds or use an alcohol-based hand rub. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. When coughing or sneezing, cover your mouth with a tissue or flexed elbow. Discard tissues into a closed bin and then wash your hands. Maintain a distance of at least 1 meter between yourself and someone who is ill. Seek medical help if you display symptoms. Wear a mask if you are coughing or sneezing, or if you are caring for someone who is sick. Dispose of your masks into a closed bin and then wash your hands. Check trusted sources regularly for accurate information. Remember, the best prevention is to keep yourself healthy and follow these safe steps.
Lesson 6 has something to do with explaining figurative language used. Figurative language is a language that has an underlying meaning in its context. It is the exact opposite of literal language, wherein words express meanings precisely as explained. Writers use figurative language to make their work more fascinating or more dramatic than literal language. Also, they want to build imagery and give words more power. In other words, there is always room for interpretation, and thus, readers figure out what a particular work means. Figurative language deals with the figures of speech. One will not be able to explain the function of the language if he or she is not aware of the techniques used. If figurative language is like a concert, then the figure of speech are like the songs that make up the repertoire. Here are some of the figures of speech used in writing figurative language. For number 1, we have simile. It is used to compare two separate things or concepts using as or like. For example, medical frontliners are protective of their patients as the queen bee to its larva. In this example, they, which are the doctor and nurses, are being compared to the queen bee in terms of their protectiveness. The adjective protective is already mentioned after the verb are. That is why as is used only once. Another example is this. The frontliners are like our parents in keeping all of us safe. In this sentence, the frontliners are compared to parents on how they keep us all safe in this sentence. The word like is used to make this comparison. For number 2, we have metaphor. It is used to compare two separate things or concepts relating to one another without the use of as and like. An example of metaphor is this. Nadine was a rock star during the recitation a while ago. In this sentence, Nadine is considered a rock star probably because she performed very well. She may have studied well the night before, that's why she answered the questions confidently. As a result, her classmates might have admired her and might have considered her their idol, thus the term rock star. For the second example, in working on his music, James is a machine. A machine never stops working until it is turned off. In this sentence, James is compared to a machine by saying that he is such, probably because he is focused in his work and he never gives up when it comes to improving his craft. Number 3 figures of speech. The personification. Personification is used to give human characteristics, qualities, or traits to an inanimate object. In other words, an object or an idea does something that only people do. The first example, Robin heard the last piece of Eminem calling her. The inanimate object in this sentence is the last piece of Eminem, and the human attribute given to it is calling. It means that Robin desperately wanted the last piece of Eminem, that she felt that it was calling her to eat it. For the second example, the sky wept tears of joy. In this sentence, the human characteristic used is wept, and it is personified by the sky. When does the sky seem to cry? Yes, it is when it rains, when it looks like crying. Number 4, hyperbole. It is an exaggerated statement used to emphasize a certain quality or feature. For example, you worry too much. Do not carry the whole world on your shoulder. This statement means that someone is heavily burdened by many troubles. Carrying the weight of the world is someone with a great burden or problem to bear. Number 5, synecdoche. Synecdoche is a figure of speech by which a part is put for the whole. For example, I am at the peak of my career. This is an example of synecdoche. The word peak is used here to indicate the highest point of the speaker's career path. The peak is a smaller part of the speaker's job experience as a whole. For number 6, we have metonymy. Metonymy is the use of one word for another that it suggests, as the effect for the cost for the effect, the sign for the thing signified, or the container for the thing contained. For example, I have a mountain of work to do. This is an example of metonymy. Mountain is used here as a figure of speech that would be related or closely linked to a pile of paperwork. Though the word mountain is different than pile, they are both associated with one another in terms of meaning. Next, we have analogy. Analogy is the relation of likeness between two things, or of one thing to another, consisting the resemblance not of the things themselves, but of two or more attributes or effect. For example, his youngest son is a thorn in his flesh. This means that the youngest son is causing the father as much pain as does a thorn in his flesh. Next, for number 8, we have irony. Irony is a subtle form of humor which involves saying things that you do not mean. Let's take a look at the example. After looking at the student's poor test score, the teacher says you will surely finish the year with highest honors. This statement simply means that the teacher is not happy with the poor performance of the student and says it in a humorous way. For number 9, we have the alliteration. Alliteration is the repetition of the initial letter, sound, or group of sounds in a series of words. It is used by the writers to capture the attention of their audience and emphasize something or make an impression. Tongue twisters are some of the examples of this technique. For example, Sam saved some of the sauce for Sandy. In this sentence, we repeated the initial consonant sound of letter S to emphasize something or make an impression. Number 10, allusion. Allusion is a reference, typically brief, to a person, place, thing, event, or other literary works which the reader is presumably familiar. For example, is there an Einstein in your class? Einstein in this sense refers to one who knows well in science. Number 11, onomatopoeia. It is a word that copies its sound. In other words, it is the sound that we hear written in any literary work, such as bang, boo, buzz, ding-dong, knock, moo, murmur, shh, tick-tock, whisper, and zoom. For example, a loud beep-beep startled the sleepy driver. The tick-tocking of the clock kept me awake all night. Lastly, for number 12, we have idiom. Idiom is a phrase or clause which is symbolical and has become accepted in common usage. They make the language more interesting because they present thought-provoking ideas to the reader. For example, the teacher said, some of you posted degrading comments to one of your classmates. I will not mention names, but if the shoe fits, wear it. The idiom means that if the remark applies to you, you should admit it and never deny it. When Ramil asked Ria for help, she told him to go fly a kite. In this sentence, the idiom means that Ramil should live and never bother Ria. And now, we're done with the discussion. I hope that you were able to jot down all the necessary information because we will be needing this to our next task. Are you ready and excited to explore more about figurative languages? If so, get your paper and pen because we will be answering different independent activities under this task. For our first task, we will be answering the independent activity 1, wherein you're going to identify the type of figurative language used in the following statement. For the second independent activity, you're going to read and analyze the following poems. Then answer the following questions that follow. Write your answer on your answer sheet. And lastly, for the third independent activity, you're going to read and analyze the poems and passages below. Then, do the activities that follow. Write your answers on your answer sheet. You will be given additional time to answer these activities. The timer starts now. Good job, class! Your answers will be checked virtually via Messenger. Just take a picture of your answer and send it to me privately. Now, let's sum up all your learning about figurative languages. Read and analyze the following statements. Write fact if the statement is true and bluff if the statement is not. Then write down the correct word or phrase that makes the statement a bluff. Okay, are you ready? If so, for number 1, a simile is used to compare two things or concepts using as or like. Number 2, we use metaphors when we compare two separate things or concepts relating to another without the use of like or us. For number 3, a hyperbole gives human characteristics, qualities, or traits to inanimate object. In other words, an object or an idea does something that only people do. Number 4, when we exaggerate fancifully to emphasize a certain quality or feature, we use personification. And lastly, for number 5, the voices of the people must be respected, is an example of synecdoche. You are now given the time to answer this activity. Timer starts now. Time's up. Let's see how you fare to this test. And here are the answers for what I have learned. Excellent! You deserve an applause. Now, it's time for you to put everything that you learned into action with the use of this activity. Given below are various texts which use figurative languages. Classify each one and then explain what they mean. And now, here is your activity for what I can do. The timer starts at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job, class! Your answer in this activity may vary. That's why checking and evaluation will be done right after this video. For your assessment, identify what figurative language is used in the following sentences. Then, explain why your answer is such. Write your answer on your answer sheet. And here is your final assessment. You will be given another minute to answer this activity. And the timer starts now. Time's up, and here are the answers for your assessment. Your explanation will be checked right after this video. High five for an excellent job. For your assignment, write as many sentences as you can about the photo below using figurative language. And that's all for today. I hope you learn and enjoy a lot about this session. Thank you for your cooperation. Till next time, bye!